Hi. So, we're continuing this project. It's Monday, Minecraft Monday, and, this all needs to go, so. And I don't have command blocks to do it. Um, I don't have command blocks to, pull this down, so I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. Um, oh, you know what? I should have the thing open. Twitch. Okay. We started relatively on time this time. It's 7:59. Um, I've got like 4 pages to go. On a chapter. I got into sorting out the YouTube videos because there's a bunch of small ones that are by the same person, and the same family set, and I was like, they should go together, and then I will be all caught up on that because one of the videos says we um, settled on a name or something like that, and I'm like, for the baby or for the new cat, because like Taj named her Princess, or or um he said something that sounded like Princess, and that's what they thought he said, something like that. So anyway, they've been calling her Princess, and they're like, I don't like that name, and they've kept it as Princess for this whole time. But anyway, I don't know what, and it's got a thumbnail of a picture of what looks like pea soup or something. I think I was calling it something else yesterday, but whatever it is, I really want to watch that one. Um, so I was like, okay, we'll put them all together, and then it was like, um, I was up until like 2 o'clock last night um, trying to get some of my story done and get the puzzle done, because I get points on, I get Xbox points for that. And then, what else was I trying to do? And I was trying to watch those videos. So, Yeah, I mean, I was like trying to get all those videos together. And then I was just like, okay, wait a minute. We have this one. I mean, we have this set here. And we can just load like the first one and it'll go to the next one and the next one and the next one until, um, until there's no more videos in the list. And then that part of the list. And then there was a second spot, a video all by itself, and a third, and I mean, a second spot, a video all by itself. So that's the third spot. And then there was the fourth spot. So I just, you know, made it to where we can watch the first video in each list and not have to worry about it. Oh, um, so it's the family from Don't Stop Meowing, and then like their family. Um, so Fifi's mom and her brother. Yeah, her her brother and his family, and um anyway, there's more people than that, but pretty sure there's more people than that. Maybe not. um I had the one on there, but she was like, um or maybe that was part of the one channel. But anyway, I had the other lady on there, and I'm like, I can't watch her. But anyway, I've got um all of the videos, and that's what I've got playing in the background. Because there seems like there was a million of them, and there really wasn't, but um there was a lot. So it claims I have 700 and something videos. Oh, 727 now. And um and I'm watching number 121. Yeah. It's going to take a while. Um Actually, I think I'm going to pause that since I can't hear it and play that. That's not what I meant. No, 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 no. Okay. Yeah, that works. Not. My computer is so stupid sometimes. Now you're just being mean about it. Okay. So I went and put on actually today's Pop's Disney, Pop's Disney Adventures. And I say it that way because it's usually the one from, a month ago or whatever. And it was raining that day or whatever. Well, if you're going to get all loud, I'm going to have to mute you. I feel bad because, I would like to hear what he has to say, but have it not so loud that y'all can hear. And unfortunately, he got loud. And I didn't say, hey, can I have you in the background of my videos? And he'd probably say no. Anyway, so. So, anyway. I get a little bit upset because sometimes he has member only streams, and I get it. You're trying to give something to the people who actually paid to be here, kind of thing. But some of us, it's not that we don't want to help the YouTuber out financially. It's because we can't. We can't afford it. So, anyway, I was just watching a, um, well, new to me guy. Turns out that, um, he's well, I guess he's a churchgoer. I don't know. I was talking about, Jesus is the reason for the season and, stuff. So, I'm guessing, but he didn't actually say one way or the other. But anyway, he was going on rides at theme parks, and nobody wanted to let him wear his GoPro. Seriously, I think if I go to a theme park, I want to, as much as that's annoying, um, because when you have to go to the bathroom, it makes it 10 times harder. But it'll make sense in a moment. Um, I would want to wear overalls with a zippered pocket there's usually a pocket that is at the chest part for overalls, and here we'll go over there. Um Anyway, there's usually a pocket, but I would want it to be zippered so I could put my wallet and um my wallet, my keys, if I'm lucky, my phone, if I needed to. I would be recording like everything. I would literally be recording everything, but um so it wouldn't be in my uh pocket very long, but yeah, I would want to be able to do that. And have those overalls on. But like when you need to go to the bathroom, it's like you gotta hope that you don't have to go that bad because you gotta undo the um we'll call them thingies because I don't know what you actually call them. But the fasteners that hold your um overalls on. You have to undo those, and then um and then take care of business, and then you gotta do them back up again. And anyway, they're kind of annoying, but I think that would be the only way that I'd have peace of mind that I'm not gonna lose my wallet and keys because it's California. Um, when you live in California, you kind of always get told, make sure that you don't leave your purse anywhere. Make sure that you don't. If you see somebody looking suspicious, they probably are. It's just California. But we lived in the Bay Area where we're like that close to a city called Richmond, and it had a lot of crime apparently, at least at one point. Of course, I was thinking that don't remember if it was Concord or Hayward or somewhere around there. Anyway, one of the um one of the people I know, and I don't remember who either, but one of the people I know, they were like in line to get tacos or something like that, and all of a sudden there's like a drive-by shooting. So yeah. um that was some scary stuff. It's like people I know were living in whatever town it was and just innocently trying to get tacos in the drive-thru or something like that, and that happens. Or maybe they already had their food and they were eating it. I can't remember. That was a while ago. Like a few years ago. Um, so I will put it in here now since I've kind of run out of things to actually talk about. I'm sure I'll figure out something. Um, but I write books and they are available on Amazon in hardback, paperback, and ebook. And I finally fixed the description for all of the YouTube videos. I did not fix it for the um yeah, kind of forgot to fix it for Twitch. But if you look in the description below, just pick a title. It'll take you straight there to Amazon where that book is. And so my book titles are The Rolling Sea Beginnings Book 1, Pirate's Daughter. The Rolling Sea Beginnings Book 2, Misfortune. The Rolling Sea Beginnings Book 3, Hard Times. Sorry about that. Later in the series, The Rolling Sea Traitor Book 1, Esperanza's Party. The Rolling Sea Traitor Book 2, The Island. I'm still working on the Rolling Sea Traitor Book 3, Lessons in Love, and it will be coming out soon, I think. I I'm like 54 pages away. I think 55. I mean 53 now, but I was like 54 pages away. Um. Oh, and then there's a whole separate series called Adopted. It's for children, and the first book is Coral, because that was our cat's name. She passed away January 23rd, 2025, and that like hit very, very hard. We've had her since she was a kitten. Um, yeah, we had her since she was a kitten, so that was like losing, uh, that was like losing your baby, like losing your kid. Um, but she was the cat that lived the longest. We were, I guess, fostering a couple of, I'm meaning no disrespect when I say this, but we were fostering a couple of old lady cats. That's what we called them at the time. And one of them, I think that was Roxy, won the Halloween costume contest, a special, she got a special award, or maybe she won the whole thing. I can't remember. But she was dressed as a grandma. That was, that was the whole costume. She was dressed as grandma. Basically, she had a sweater on. But she won the contest. So anyway, so one of the cats was Roxy. She did not get along with the other cats, but she got along with the people really well. And then there was, she got along with my husband more, but I was upset at her for, for not being nice to the other cats in the house. But anyway, and then and then I want to say at the same time, we were fostering Henrietta, who liked to be called Henny. Hennie. And, So, she liked to be called Hanny. Anyway, they both had some kind of problem. One of them had renal failure, and the other one had something. I'm never going to remember. But, yeah, something. So, anyway, Roxy ended up and she ended up having to get gas twice, but there was nothing that we were going to be able to do for her, and it was probably just going to be like a slow, painful death if we didn't. So we had them put her to sleep, and then later, Roxy was 11 at the time, so So later, Henny and whatever problems she had became too much. And she was literally walking around the house like, Mom, just let me go. It's okay. And so we ended up, excuse me, we don't say it that way. We say, we, they had to go live with the kitty doctor. That's how we say it here. So anyway, Hanny was 12 and she had to go live with the kitty doctor. So when Coral was 11, I was afraid. And then when Coral made it to 12, I was like, yay! And I was so happy. And then Coral made it to 13. And I was super happy, but she did not make it to her birthday. It's okay. She passed away at home. It wasn't the lovely pass away in her sleep that I was hoping for, but I really was. I was hoping for she'd just fall asleep somewhere nice, comfortable, and that would be it. Maybe she'd be in a box and we could just, take the box with us and, have them toss it when they're done. We keep the box. We keep the little box tray from the litter because Sam likes to lay in them. It's the best kitty bed. A little cardboard box. Actually, he likes the ones that the cup of noodle soup comes in. Even better. Not the not the cup of noodles brand, but one of the others because it has nice high sides, and it makes him feel like he's hiding. But yeah. So now Ben is about to be how old are you about to be? Are you about to be 13? Hold on. Okay, 2025 minus 2013 when he was born. Okay, yeah, he's about to turn 13 too. And so we haven't had a cat live past 13 yet. But but we did adopt every single one of our cats. Coral and Nancy were supposedly 2-month-old kittens. I think they're smaller than that when we got them. And so we think they were born in August. And then Ben was born in January because he was 4 months old when we got him. So we know exactly when he was born. But Sam, we're just guessing here. Because he looked like he was about a year old when we found him. And the doctor, I think the doctor was a little impressed with that one. But anyway, look, the doctor looked at Sam and was like, yeah, I think it's about that. And so, so we didn't want to fall in love just in case. We, went and asked a whole bunch of people, did you lose a cat? And one guy did lose a cat, and his name was, and the cat's name was Sam. But we don't know if it was that cat. We don't know. We just know that the guy said that his cat just up and disappeared one day, and so it would be kind of funny if, it'd be kind of funny if I named him Sam because I wanted to name him Sam, and that was his name anyway. But he lives with us now, so I mean, he's lived with us since 2016, so. And it's really weird. I think it was last year. He just up and starts biting his brother. And he never did that before. Anyway. Okay, so yeah, I think that's right there. So go down one more layer and we'll be okay. I have not been back on Dreamlight Valley since I finished the last Tinkerbell mission. I already did the Snow White mission and the Cruella de Vil mission and Cinderella and then and Tigger, and then there was Tinkerbell. And anyway, so I finished up the last Tinkerbell mission. I didn't know I needed to talk to her, and that was it. Otherwise, I probably would have done it before then. But anyway, while I was talking to her, mid-sentence, in fact, the stream just cuts out. So I started the next stream by reading that whole entire line over again, and yeah. But if you watch my Dreamlight Valley stuff as well as my Minecraft stuff, you probably know that already. I was just thinking about that. If you if you watch me for one specific thing, you may not know that I stream other stuff too. Oh, if you're watching me on Twitch right now, please follow and chat. And if you're watching me on YouTube right now, please like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell, and please get those valid public watch hours up. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's what one of the girls on the 1982 Annie kept saying. Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty much thinking uh kids don't try this at home because this is way up here. And as far as Minecraft goes, I think this is like jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge, which if you did jump off the Golden Gate Bridge into water, it would not be a good thing. It would be a very bad thing because you even if you're doing a perfect dive, hitting that water is like hitting a brick wall. You know, a very, very, very solid brick wall. So just saying, I don't recommend it. I'm trying to get all of this. I'm trying to get all of this removed because, you know, it's supposed to be the ocean. And, I don't want a little tiny, Minecraft ocean because the Minecraft ocean never looks like an ocean. To me, it just looks like a lake or a pond. And, you know, depending on how big it is. It just looks like a lake or a pond. So, since it looks like a lake or a pond, you know, I want to make it bigger. I want to make it actually look like an ocean. Um, oh, I was just remembering. I was watching a video yesterday, and it's this one family and their huskies and their their three cats. They've got a ton of huskies. Four or five of them, I think. Um, anyway, they got a lot. Um, Olive, Yuki, Monty, and I think there's two others. And then there's Belka, Bat, and Toto. Toto's the newest addition. He just got added last year, I think. Anyway, they're fun to watch because they'll like make an obstacle course in their house somewhere, or like do a stack of red Solo cups and see if they can jump it. You know. Anyway, they do neat stuff to try to get them to, you know, have some kind of exercise, even though it's like probably winter where they live. Um, it's pretty cool. But yesterday he put on this weird mask that made him look like a supposed to make him look like a baby, but it was creepy. Um, I didn't like it. Anyway, and to see his dog's reaction. Most of his dogs, I mean, his his pet's reaction, I should say, because they let the cats in too. Um, to see their reaction. Well, most of the I think most of the dogs were like, yeah, it's just dad being silly again. And then when they let the cats in, Belka and Bat were like, yeah, it's just dad. Yeah, whatever. But Toto was like, what the is that? Typical cat reaction. But, yeah, he was kind of scared. So, actually, I should probably say he was totally scared. But not like hissing and you know hissing and he was not hissing and growling. He was just looking over like, what the heck. So anyway, no, wrong button. Much better. um yeah, so I think it was yesterday I was putting my story together, and I like to call Derek a jerk sometimes. He's one of the voices on my program. He just goes and randomly adds words all of a sudden. And their best suggestion is to go and put it into a WordPad or Notepad. I think it was Notepad. First, because there's like no, there's no fancy stuff with it. And I'm like, that would be a good idea if I had it. But I don't have it, so. Okay. That's like they were expecting me to ask. So they answered the question before it was asked. It says Pops will be back in just a few seconds. But I was thinking of the um what was it? It's either a commercial or it was like a TV special kind of thing that I watched, um Bill Gates was introducing the new computer, and you never knew if this was a real thing or not, but he goes, "It will not blue screen," because that was a big thing for computers to blue screen all the time at that point. And Bob was in charge of making sure it did not blue screen. And what happened right behind Bill Gates on the, you know, over 100-inch screen, I'm sure, it blue screened. And so I think that was a commercial because I remember him saying, "Bob, you're fired." But yeah, um, made me think of that. Oh, okay, they're back. He doesn't record when he's in the bathroom, you know. So, I mean, I think that's illegal anyway in California. But yeah, he does not record while in the bathroom. Um I would like it if one of the YouTubers, or maybe me, could record it inside the bathroom like before the park opens, like before anybody's in there. Because there's supposed to be that one of the bathrooms is or at least the men's bathroom. Um it's like all um dark and mysterious inside because I think that one was near the Haunted Mansion. And then there's supposed to be, unless that was in another park. Anyway, the Disneyland bathrooms are supposed to be interesting on the inside. I don't remember them being interesting, um, but Park Pass says they're supposed. I mean, Chris from Park Pass says that they are. So I don't know. But yeah, one of the parks that they went to, like the bathroom's all dark and mysterious, and oh, that might have been Epic Universe. Now that I think about it, but anyway, one of them, it was like all dark and mysterious on the inside, and I think one of the parks, it's got like hearts all over it because it's the Queen of Hearts. I don't know. I can't remember. He gave that trivia so long ago. So last year, or year before that, or the year before that. Something like that. Um, yeah. Oh boy. We need to finish um we need to finish the it might make sense in a minute. We need to finish the parking lot up there. We need to finish the classrooms. We need to, finish a whole bunch of stuff. Because I want to be able to build that townhouse. I want to make it the, I want to make it the apartments. TSMC-Minecraft, who I usually call TSMC, he has a townhouse and it's all made out of brick. And it doesn't really matter what it's made out of. It'll probably be made out of brick though. Just because. Or the white terracotta. But whatever I make it out of. Oh, okay. Whatever I make it out of, it'll probably be made out of the brick. I don't know, that just seems like a good color to make it. But I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, he calls it a townhouse, I think. But I am thinking apartment. I mean, because otherwise it's just going to be a bigger version of my regular house. And that doesn't seem right. The house. Oh, that jump scared me for a second there. Anyway, I got, most, if not all, of my husband's laundry done yesterday. And sorted all those videos, which took hours. And got some of the story done. So I think I had a productive day. It only took until 2 o'clock this morning to finish all those projects. Oh yeah, and seemingly the world's hardest puzzle. I took a picture of my kids at the pumpkin patch, and my son's 1 or 2 in that picture. Yeah, I think he's one or 2. It might have been 3, but I don't think so. So we'll go with 1 or 2. And he's wearing a Lightning McQueen shirt. And my daughter is sitting on his left, slightly further back than him. Yeah, slightly further back than him, wearing a pink Hannah Montana shirt. And 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 there's some pumpkins. They're sitting on hay. She's wearing shorts. You can't really tell what he's wearing on the bottom half, but it's a really cute picture, and I thought, okay, I'll put that together. It'll be easy. No, it is not easy. There's colors in there that I'm not, like, if I looked at the they've got a picture so you can see what the picture looks like. When I do that, it's got colors in there that I don't see anywhere. So I'm like looking at it going, how's this gonna work? Anyway, I finally found some of the puzzle pieces today, and I can work on it a little bit tomorrow as well, and yeah, I can work on it a little bit tomorrow as well, and there won't be any problems. But I'm really thinking about. I am seriously thinking about doing all of the videos for the week today, and then not having to worry about being on stream between 8 and noon, because I need to finish my story, and I can do it as long as I don't get too distracted and stuff, you know. Besides, I want to get on. I want to be able to get back on GTA before the snow goes away. You know, have at least 2 videos with the snow. Since so far I haven't been able to give you real snow. I think, okay, like if it snows on Saturday, I think I will take my husband out. I mean, you know, have him and me go out on a little bit of a walk. And he's gonna get upset about it, but you know, because he works all week, he doesn't want to be on his feet. He doesn't want to be on his feet on the weekend. He wants to be able to sit down and play his video games. But yeah, he can't he can't do that if I drag him out for a walk. But the idea is to show you the winter wonderland, and not just have it be look out my grass side door, and what do you see? Because if I get it just right, you're gonna be looking at it like, yeah, we've seen that before. I always wanted to get a video where the deer were walking across it while there's snow on the ground, but they don't come around here then for some reason. Or at least I never catch it. I think they did 1 year. Okay. We are getting there. Doesn't feel like it right now, but we are getting there. This reminds me of Fwip, because he was tearing down a whole bunch of stuff, and then he went and put in a custom mountain. Well, I'm not very good at building custom mountains. Oh, that's another thing that we need to finish on this. We need to get focused and actually do the mountain. Build the mountain. It'll happen. It just hasn't happened yet, you know. So that's so funny. There's a whole bunch of people who have, the largest, they say, the largest, um, or the longest, that makes more sense, the longest roller coaster in Minecraft history. And it's like, no, I think I hold that record personally. The only difference is that theirs looks more like a roller coaster because, it goes up in the air and it goes down and bounces off the one thing and goes to the other and drops down and then does it again. With mine, though, you get to see my whole entire town. Um, yeah, I was telling you about the Derek voice. Yeah, um, he was supposed to be saying, then why are they flat again, Ashley? And, I didn't expect him to say it correctly, but I did expect him to get all the words right. He decided to add a few of his own. Something like question to question one. And I'm like, I always double check just to make sure. But yeah, definitely was not there. Um, because like maybe I had another sentence in there and deleted part of it, and then that was what was left. But no, it was just him adding words, and I the speech low people don't want to admit that they actually have a problem, so they want to blame it on my equipment. Dang, it is 18 degrees outside. Um, anyway, they want to blame it on my equipment, and I don't appreciate that because it's a brand new well, it was a brand new computer. Um, wasn't brand. It was a year old when I bought it. Or when we bought it. I was telling my husband I need a new computer because I didn't think that the old one was actually saving things properly, and it could have been my scatterbrainedness and just thinking that I saved it, or maybe I saved it over here, but I didn't save it over there. So I typically try to go on the OneDrive now and make sure that everything is saved the way it's supposed to be saved. Um, but I did notice that on the OneDrive, thank you very much, um, that something didn't get saved, and I was like, what happened? Because every now and then I go and manually save it myself. I don't just rely on, um, I will never just rely on the it saving by itself every 5 minutes. I just can't do it. So, so I know something didn't get saved, and I was upset. Anyway, so the problem I was having, he added words to the sentence again. Um, well, I do recommend Speechlo though, even though there's some issues, and some of the voices cannot say Chantel unless you spell it SHAWNTELL. Some of the voices, because if you spell it with a C like it's supposed to be, it'll say Chantal. And then if you spell it with an S like I spell it, it's Chantal or Chantal. So I spell it SHAWNTELL for those people. And I mean for those voices, and it says it perfect. So I'm getting used to it. I am so used to AI voices not saying things properly that I just automatically fix it and go on about my day. But that was really annoying. And then we had a problem with Tristan, because that's the way it's spelled, TRISTAN, Tristan. But AI can't say that because it sees it as Tristan. So you just go and change that Tristan. Yeah. You go and change the A to a I or an E, and you're all good. Well, it depends. Some voices can do the I. I mean, it can say it with the I, and some of them can say it with the E, so yeah, you just have to figure out which ones. And it's so little, it's like so little problems that I just automatically know what to do now. As opposed to okay. Anyway, as opposed to Natural Reader, where I had long lists, long lists of this person can't say this and this person can't say that, and this is how you say it for this character, and this is how you say it for this character. I had long lists, but this one, most of the words get said exactly the way that they need to be said, and I've got fixes for most of the words. You cannot well, maybe THH, but the word the, I was having a problem with that with one of my voices. I mean, with one of the voices last week, I think. And I was like, how do you fix that? It's 3 letters, and it's pretty much the E is silent. So, how do you work with that? And I could not figure it out. But I think we finally did find a solution. I think we did finally find a solution. And, oh! My husband, I think the word ew is EWE. Well, that's also the word you, like a female shape. So, it says you. Well, I'm not entirely sure that that's how it's spelled. It might be EWW, but anyway, I put EWW, like he suggested, and it was perfectly fine. So, big shout out to him. He fixed my dilemma there. It was a big problem for a while there. Anyway, it was a huge problem, actually. And I'm coming to the part of my book project where I need a different I need a external hard drive that I can plug in. I think I have one. I just need to be able to plug it in, and my computer only has so many ports, so it's only got so many ports, so I have to be careful. I mean, well, I have to be careful anyway, but anyway, it's only got so many ports, so I can't just like go and plug another one in and hope that it works, So it's like I would like to be able to take the downloaded music and the couple of stories that I have on there. Well, I got 3 stories on there. Besides the ones I wrote. I would like to be able to take those and put them on the external hard drive, even though I like listening to the stories. I just don't have the room right now. I'm trying to get my stories done. Well, then I'll end up taking, I'll probably end up taking, and doing I'll probably end up doing Pirate's Daughter, make sure that that sounds correct and everything, and then Misfortune, and then, Hard Times, and then working on Lessons in Love. Finding Love, not Lessons in Love, Finding. Because I'm working on Lessons in Love right now. Yeah. I just got like a million different things going on, and it's driving me crazy. And these are all trees that naturally spawned in, just so you know. Now, I was slightly disappointed, just slightly, because one of the things that I did was I had my GTA video come out on Friday last week. I had it come out on Friday. So, because I was not having GTA come out on Christmas Day. That was not going to happen. I did not want that to happen, so I, scheduled it for a different day. But I did come up with something for Christmas Day, and it literally did not take that long to make the video of either. We came up with building a custom Christmas tree. And the problem is that I wanted to use leaves. But if you want lights on your Christmas tree, you can't have leaves. It doesn't work. So instead, I ended up using green carpet. And so I went and did, went and put the lanterns on top of that, and it was perfectly fine. You're probably wondering right about now what format I'm playing on, and I am playing on Xbox. I don't know if, seriously, I don't know if you're playing on computer, if you can do, this removal that fast. I have no idea. I noticed that there are some people that play with a PlayStation or Xbox controller when they're playing Dreamlight Valley, but when they're decorating, they use the mouse. So, they're sitting there going, I don't know anybody who could do this with a controller, and I'm over here going, me. For me, it's really easy to do everything that I want to do in the game with the controller. But, there's other people who are like, I don't understand how people do this with the controller. It's like, it's pretty easy. I think it's a lot easier than using the mouse, but this way I don't have to have a steady hand. I can just go and use the controller, and with the mouse, I'm sure you have to have a steady hand. You have to be able to place it exactly where you want it, and I mean, well, you got to place it exactly where you want it anyway, but it's different. We'll go with that. It's just different. Um, yeah, so I was watching an Unspeakable video. And you have to remember, Unspeakable. Well, we had been watching Preston and his wife Brianna. And they were doing Still a Brain Rot, and oh yeah. They were both doing Still a Brain Rot. Anyway, they were doing Still a Brain Rot, and Preston and Brianna are doing a challenge and whoever gets the most points wins. Well, she ended up winning. So then, anyway, later, Unspeakable was playing Still a Brain Rot, and my husband's like, yeah, and he's gonna lose, and he's gonna turn off the game. Yeah, it's, uh, or no, he said his wife's gonna win, and he's gonna turn off the game. And I'm like, he doesn't have a wife, because it was Unspeakable. You know, I am a firm believer in there is somebody for everybody. And seriously, I hope God is willing to find Unspeakable the perfect wife. And does. Because, being willing to do something and actually doing it, two different things. Like earlier, I was thinking, every time somebody says something like that, there's, put your cat to sleep. They're going to go on their extended vacation. And then there's put your cat asleep. Maybe you go and wrap them up in a cozy blanket and have them on your lap and they take a nap. That's asleep. And, I think about I have to think about those kind of things because I write books, so it's like, how is the audience going to interpret what, how what is going to be their take on what I wrote? And if I'm like, if I'm telling my husband, okay, this is the situation, how are you understanding it? He gives me his honest opinion. He goes and says, okay, I'm hearing it this way. And if that's not what I meant, then I have to go back and try to figure out how to get it to where, my whole audience would understand it. Or like yesterday I was trying to describe something to my husband because I had to add something. Ashley was out on a date with Sam Crenshaw to the beach. You know, there was a bunch of friends there, and that's something that I don't really know how to describe very well. Like a big um like I can describe that there was a party and that there's a bunch of people dancing, but I don't know how to exactly describe, friends hanging out and all that stuff because I didn't have a whole lot of friends. Um, I was a shy kid, and like I think that actually comes from when I was little. It was like, don't talk to strangers. Don't uh, you know, don't like I wasn't supposed to talk to strangers. I wasn't supposed to, go in people's cars, and that was a big that was one of the big times when like the guy would come up to the park and say, "Hey, can you help me find my little dog? She's been missing for a few hours, and just come into my car with me, and we'll find the dog." Well, of course, the kid never helped find the dog 'cause the guy kidnapped her. You know, kidnapped the kid. Well, it was during that time too, so it was like, I'm kind of, freak. I mean, still to this day, I'm like freaking out about that kind of stuff. Um, when when I was in California, I was afraid somebody would pickpocket me. Steal my wallet, keys, cell phone, you know, or just there was a guy at one point that you're in an amusement park, and I think it was specifically Disneyland, but maybe my brain just jumped to Disneyland because that was the park I know the best. But he would go and um cut the straps on your backpack purse or your backpack and take it with him instead, and then you never noticed until it was too late. Or one time, um the those baby packs, where you are, it was for toddlers. um the toddler pack, the guy, the mom and dad, they um they thought it was perfectly safe. They had, we'll call the baby Junior. um I don't know what the baby's real name was, but anyway, um baby was in there, and I don't know if they recovered baby or not. So um but anyway, Junior was in there, and all of a sudden Junior wasn't there because he'd gotten kidnapped. um I'm not trying to scare people, I'm just telling stuff I remembered. So anyway, I got all this stuff that I'm worried about, and I don't know if I need to see a therapist about it, or the last therapist kind of person I saw um did not understand about um I was happy at one point that I had lost enough weight to wear this dress that I had. And they're like, "Okay, whatever." It's like, I am happy about this. Hello. You could at least pretend to be happy with me. Um so yeah, I don't know how, but okay, so I'm not telling the whole story, but our kids got taken away from us in 2008. And I'm not supposed to get angry about it, apparently. So they put me into anger management class because, I was being totally irrational. Yeah, our kids got taken away even though the house was, um, it's because we weren't taking care of the house. It was messy all the time. But, we had water for, we had water and food and bedrooms and all that stuff. Well, one big bedroom. The problem is that we would have ended up, our bed would have ended up in the dining room or the living room, because in California they have a rule that once your once one of your kids turn 5, they're not supposed to be in the same room anymore. Because that's about when they realize that boys and girls are different. Um, I always knew that boys and girls were different, even before cousin uh, my cousin used to like to get out of the bath and then go running around the living room, you know, showing that he was a boy. Yeah. But even before that, I knew there was a difference. I don't know how I knew there was a difference, but I knew there was a difference. I wasn't just like aloof going, okay, we're all people and maybe we all have the same parts. I don't know. I just wasn't thinking of it that way. I knew there was a difference. So I don't understand this whole 5 years old and separate bedrooms, but we would have either had to get a different apartment or I mean we would have had to get a different place that had 3 bedrooms, and we couldn't afford to do that. And we got on the list at one point. There's these apartments that are supposed to be based on your income, and we were going to have to come up with like $900 a month. Or no. No, actually I think it was $700 a month. They just didn't have an apartment open at that time. Anyway, we couldn't, we couldn't get on the list fast enough. We didn't know about it until it was too late, kind of thing. 'Cause like if we had known about it, then as soon as we found out we were having trouble with our landlord, we would have gotten ourselves on the list and we would have been moved a lot sooner. But I actually liked the place that we were at on San Jose Avenue, because we were 2 blocks away from the lake. If we could go and make enough money to buy that place outright. I don't know if you have to buy all 4 or if you could just buy, one. But I'd like to get it for a visiting house, not a permanent. It was awfully cold in the winter. It really was. But it was nice during the summer because there's only like maybe a month total where it was too hot. But it was, but I remember that the place that we had was um, was, yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, we can't live in the place that we lived in at that time though, unless we like, um, unless we somehow come up with. Oh, we didn't have very good internet there either. Okay, so I don't know what was going on there, but he'd not be home from work yet, and there was a full sized man shadow at the top of the stairs. And I just assumed it was a ghost that was very, very angry. He never came down and bugged me, but that was some scary stuff there. But it would be okay for a vacation, but I would definitely want a um I would definitely want like maybe the one across the way from where we lived, or maybe have the one that we lived but have one of those lights that stick to the wall or something. Have something to where there's light up there and I don't have to worry about anything. Um, and I could say, hey, family, come and stay here, um, if they insist on paying, give me $500 and you can stay for the week or whatever. Of course, I wouldn't be doing that for um, wouldn't be doing that for the tourists, but I would do that for family. Um, yeah, if I was going to do that for tourists, I would go and see what the smallest rental fee is for a night and beat it. And then somebody would, be calling me up going, "Why are you so cheap?" I'll be like, "'Cause I own the place." I'd like to be able to do that. That would be awesome. But yeah, it's a little, it's too expensive. Really, it's too expensive to live up there, and that's not just because it's in California. Um, but it would, actually, if I could get a house up there, I'd probably want to get one on, I think it's Lakeview Drive, because that looks out onto um, it looks out onto the lake, and that's where they shoot off the fireworks. And I wouldn't have to leave my house to watch fireworks. I wouldn't have to worry about those two people yelling at each other because one of them's drunk and the other one brought their dog. Because you're not supposed to bring your dog. A couple of times I wished I hadn't been streaming. I mean, not streaming, recording, because I would have so called the the dog catcher or the cops and said, yeah, there's a guy with his dog out here, and the two idiots are arguing. We actually told some people that they weren't supposed to have their dog there, and and we left it at that, but the people were like, arguing back or something, and not a good situation. And not something that you want to happen um on 4th of July or um Labor Day, Memorial Day. Anyway, so when's September? So when is September? And because they have fireworks on 4th of July, and remember, this is South Lake Tahoe. They have fireworks 4th of July and Labor Day, I think. I think it's Labor Day. And then I want to say they have them for New Year's, but I can't remember. Huh. Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, they have them like 3 times a year, and it's really cool. Or at least they used to before COVID. I keep telling my husband that I want to go to Tahoe for 4th of July. And he keeps telling me we don't have enough gas, we don't have enough this, we don't have enough that. So, segue into me asking you all a favor. Please buy one of my books. Like I said, even if, I usually say if 1,000,000 people bought one of my books, I'd be happy. And that is true. I really would. But also, even if 250 people bought one of my books, I'd be happy. Because, I live in fear that something's gonna go wrong, and something's gonna go wrong, and we're not gonna have this place anymore. And I don't want that to happen. I really don't. What is going on here? I feel like Goofy. Something wrong here. I can't remember what video it was either. I want to say maybe that it was Mickey's trailer. The one where they've got the car pulling the little trailer, and like a fifth wheel trailer, but a small one. Anyway, they've got the car pulling that, and no, it can't be that one. I'll figure it out. Um, but anyway, at one point, Mickey's at the table, Donald's at the table, Goofy's at the table at the end. At the end of the table, and they're eating, and he's trying to eat, and something happens to where to where his food gets, it gets, all mushed up or um, thrown out the window or something like that. It's supposed to be funny, but I don't find it funny. Starving is not okay. That's why I want to make sure that, I want to make sure that with my book money, I make enough money to actually, to actually donate some food to the food banks and, make sure that people can eat. I would love to come up with some tiny homes or something, some kind of temporary housing for some of these people that are down on their luck enough that, they don't have but a few dollars, but they're willing to give, like $5 so they can have a place to stay. I know it's not a practical idea, but I like it. And that stems from one winter. There was a guy, and he was homeless, and he fell asleep behind one of the local grocery stores here, and he didn't make it. So, I would like to be able to help people like him out. But it all starts with some book sales, Seems to be the only job that I can do and not get fired from. The reason why I got fired was I didn't yell at somebody. She said I did, but I did not. And I don't appreciate that she lied about me. And you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to put a real reason, and you're supposed to, we'll call them you caused trouble points. My thing was I didn't cause trouble. I was trying to get my break. My government given break. Thank you very much. But they were like, oh no, you need to stay because you're a good cashier and we don't care if you get your break as long as you serve the customers. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to stand up very much longer if you don't give me my break. And there was times when I actually had my break 2 hours before I was supposed to go home. So I literally, my first break, 2 hours before I was supposed to go home. The government says you're supposed to have it after 2 hours. The U.S. government says you're supposed to have a break after 2 hours. And I've got some medical issues that you cannot see. So everybody just assumes that I'm a fit person and can work for 6 hours. having no problems. You're supposed to have your lunch after 4 hours. But I was getting my lunch at, I was getting lunch at 6 hours because the cash register logs you out at that point. And I was always Miss Smug Mug when that happened because I knew that the person was going to get in trouble who told me not to go to break or lunch. And I had to go and take my break while I was at it. So I'd go and tell them, I'm not going to be back for an hour and a half. And then I literally had half an hour until I until I got off work. Or one time, I don't know how they managed this one, but one time I literally had less than an hour and a half to go, and that was when I finally got my break. I mean, got my break and my lunch. So, yeah, I don't recommend working for Walmart because, I mean, it could be a good experience, and, managers may vary, but in this case, that's exactly what happened to me several times because I was a fast cashier. They did not want to let me go on my break. And it's like, excuse me, there's a thing called the government, and they say I get a break every 2 hours. So then I had to fight for it, and, a couple of times it was they only found somebody because I kept on about it. So then they'd go and write me up. And it's like, a couple of times I had to go to the bathroom. So a couple of times I told the person that got in line, no, I've got to go to the bathroom. I'll be back. Because I think one time I had to go to the bathroom so bad, and it was just gonna be a quick trip, but I had to go to the bathroom so bad, and they did not find relief for like an hour and a half after. Until I finally just said, I've got to go. They don't understand that I've got the Sjogren bladder, the family bladder, from my mom's side of the family, and, that I can't hold it as long as some other people. Can't hold it until break. That I may not get until, 6 hours into my shift, Anyway. So on Wednesday, I'm gonna be playing Dreamlight Valley, and it's gonna be pretty chill, I think, because we have to do our dream snap, but not have to. I mean, I don't have to. Like it's a chore, but I get to do my dream snap and dream snap voting, and see if I can buy something from the premium shop, because if I get 4,000 moonstones, that would be really awesome. Um, you know, it just depends on how many people see your picture. And really, I think they ought to go through some of them and, you know, like, I found a whole bunch of photos in voting that had nothing to do with the theme. It was supposed to be Elsa's Ice Castle or something like that. You know, make a scene that, that would go with the theme of, you know, Elsa and, you know, icy biome, snowy biome, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay, so I set up a thing in the Frosted Heights and, you know, it looks nice and everything, but I still think I'm gonna get a low rank. And, the one before that, I actually ranked really high. Really high. I was ranked 14. But I still only got 600 moonstones. How'd that work out? And you can't really complain to them anymore the way that you used to, because they put up a forum. Yeah, because forums are great. All forums do is tell people that you don't care about their problem and you don't want to fix it. Because usually I have a question that's not on the forum, and you go to put a new one on there and it won't let you. It tells you don't have permission. I've had that problem so many times, and I don't appreciate it. Of course, I also don't appreciate Google being just downright stupid. Not Google itself, really, because, you know, it's got so much information. It's actually really helpful. I love it. But, my HG, you know, my home device, because you say, hey, Gilly, to, talk to it. Spelling the word, because otherwise it'll think I'm talking to it. Well, I call it a her because it's got a female voice. But anyway, you know, quite often I ask it a question and it goes, I don't understand. But it has like the other day. Might have been yesterday, might have been the day before. I asked it to spell the word there. Like their coat, their city, their, you know, THEIR. And, you know, because I can never remember, is it I before E or E before I on that one. And it's THEIR. And, so I was asking it to spell that word to make sure that I spelled it correctly. And it's like, I don't understand, but it had it on the screen. So this time, instead of asking, do I want to put a report, it just said, oh, I'm sorry. Or something like that. And it's like, you're not sorry. You're doing this on purpose. At least it sure feels like it. Because she says it on so many different questions, and it's like I could ask, when is President Trump's birthday, and she'll probably say, I don't understand. I never thought about that before. I just, I think they said that he's starting to have health issues. I hope it's, hype and propaganda and whatever, they're making stuff up. Um, but I think they said that he was starting to have health issues too. And, he's up there in years, so it makes sense. But I'm still hoping it's, not true. What was I trying to say though? What about him having health issues? I don't know. I lost it. As soon as I said he's up there in years, I lost it. I was complaining about Google, and like I hope he. Okay, so I hope he makes it to his birthday. That's what it was. I hope he makes it to his birthday. Because Coral did not, our cat. Not trying to make this a depression video, but I'm not trying to make it be a downer. It's just happening that way. I'm sorry. So I feel like I got too many big worries for, this one person to have. I've got the worry that that something will happen, and that something bad will happen, and like, because my husband's supposed to have a 2019 or newer vehicle. We can't afford that. At least not right now. Maybe, well, yeah, probably if I was able to get a job outside the house, I wouldn't have enough time for working on my stories. But if I can get a job outside the house, then we could definitely get a 2019 or newer vehicle. But there becomes the concern of, how am I going to get to work? How am I how am I going to get to work, and how am I going to not fall on my butt, head, back, whatever, in the ice that's under the snow? There, you got to think about those kind of things. I actually smashed my knees against the sidewalk 3 times. Three times in the same winter, and hit my head on a brick planter. So, yeah. I am really afraid to go outside during the winter. But he's supposed to have a 2019 or newer vehicle, and we don't know how we're going to do that. I don't know if this is going to stay or go, though. where the plants are. I don't know if that's going to stay or go. Could you imagine trying to do this when you don't have creative mode on? That was something I was trying to do. I was trying to figure out how to make a breathing underwater potion for, 2 minutes or more, because of the fact that that's one of the Xbox achievements. But that was back when you needed to get Xbox achievements. Now it's, it's play Jewel for, at least 15 minutes. You're supposed to gain 1 level on Jewel. And that's when that's when it gives you the points. But sometimes it makes you play for 15 minutes. It just depends. And then play a PC game. Well, we've got the jigsaw puzzle on there, and that's been counting. So, even the jigsaw puzzles that I come up with myself, I was getting the animal ones done, but then I ran out of animals. And then I was trying to get the, ever since I've been taking some of my pictures and turning them into a puzzle and doing it on the hardest level. It's just because I know that the hardest level is going to take a really long time to put together, and you can do multiple days on the same puzzle. I've pretty much got all of our son's shirt finished, and I've got our daughter's shirt put together, but I don't think it's done yet. And I'm not entirely sure where her shirt is going to go in the grand scheme of things, even though in the picture I know exactly where it goes. I put it where it goes, but it doesn't fit there. So, I don't know. It's confusing. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. That's the problem. Nothing. Nothing. Oh, that's cool. So I don't know what color that monorail was, but when the sun hits it just right, it's rainbow colors. I don't know. I kind of want to do an hour of Dreamlight Valley. We're trying to get a certain number of red currants and we're trying to get the storage all set up, and The only problem is that we cannot put the food from the new DLC, Wish Blossom Ranch, in with the other stuff because it doesn't fit. That's the whole reason. It does not fit. We don't go in that room to do anything but put stuff away anyway, so not a big deal. We could feed the animals. I've been neglecting feeding the animals because I've been trying to do my story, and I've been trying to finish my story. I've been trying to get the quests done for the different characters, and I know somebody's gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, you're done already?" I've only had it for like I think I only had it for like maybe 2 weeks. I got it a week after everybody else. It came out on like the 7th, I want to say. Wait, was the 7th even I have to look it up on my phone. Oh, no I don't. There's the calendar right there. Yeah, I do, because the stupid thing doesn't want to open it up. There we go. Just open it! The heck? I don't know why, but okay, so I just wanted a regular calendar program, and it decided to do Outlook instead. No, we would have gotten it on the 3rd or the 10th. I think we got Cinderella on... Yeah, I think we got Cinderella on the 3rd, and... Or the DLC... Okay, the 3rd or the 10th. I don't remember which one, but I got Cinderella actually before I got the DLC. So we'll say I got Cinderella on the 3rd and I got the DLC on the 10th, something like that. Anyway, I got it a week after everybody else. So I was a little upset about that, but, it's just the way it worked. My husband told me if I racked up $20 in points on the Xbox that he'd come up with the other 10, and he did actually do it. Although I ended up getting a $15 card. But then that was cool because I could get 2 of the DLCs for Golf with Your Friends as well. And, that was totally awesome. I have every single one of the DLCs for Golf with Your Friends, and they need to come out with more stuff, but I haven't beaten, like, I haven't gotten, certain ones in par or better. I wish I could, but some of them, I'm just like, how the HE double hockey sticks are you supposed to do this? And my answer comes up with, I don't know. Just about every single time, so. I did get Candyland pretty close. I was like just 4 over or something like that, and I was like, oh man. So then I tried it again, and I got a lot worse. Um, like I had, I think par is 58, and I got like 68. Something like that. It was horrible. So, anyway. Um, anyway, I got most everything on my Christmas list. I just need a tablet. And the main reason why I need a tablet is because when I want to read my book outside the house, it would be a lot easier to have bigger letters. Because even with my glasses, it's like I can read for a little while, and I just got reading glasses, but I can read for a little while and then I have to take them off, and I just get frustrated because the letters are so tiny. Yeah, my mother-in-law got a little upset at me because on Christmas, I don't know why it bugged her so much because she fell asleep on hers. But we both fell asleep on the movie that we had requested. She requested Nature's Half Acre, and I had fallen asleep on Muppets Christmas Carol. So, like, if I ever get caught up with the YouTube videos, I'll probably go back and watch some Christmas movies just because, even though it'll be January or February by then. We didn't get to watch all of them this year. I got behind somehow, and yeah, so we didn't get to watch all of them this year. Last year we watched multiple, we watched some of them multiple times. So, but there's at least 84 of them in the list, so it's like, if we miss a few, it's kind of okay. But I missed the ones that I like really wanted to watch. Like Polar Express, Year Without a Santa Claus, Santa Claus Coming to Town. I fell asleep during Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yeah. And we're gonna have to go to on Wednesday. We're gonna have to go to somewhere and get me fountain drink Coca-Cola. Like when you go to the restaurant and you put it in the cup yourself. We're gonna have to do that and get me, Coca-Cola because I want to stay up for New Year's. And I stayed up until 2 last night because we got Coca-Cola. It was actually worse when I got Wild Cherry Pepsi, and I had that, and I was awake. I was awake. It wasn't, I was gonna sugar crash a little bit later and fall asleep. I was awake. So, I don't know. But whatever we need to do, I want to do it so we can be awake for New Year's. I don't want to go over to my mother-in-law's house. I just really don't. We've got sparkling red grape cider from Welch's, And if we don't have to go to my mother-in-law's, I don't want to. I know, usually on these kind of things, I want to hang out with family, um, but going over to their house, I have to have my old headphones on. Um, they're JBLs, and they didn't want to talk to the computer anymore. I haven't tried plugging them in. I mean, not plugging them in, but I haven't tried getting them to. I don't even know if I have the charger for them anymore. But I don't know if I could plug them into a something and oh no, I need to go that way. I don't know if I could plug them in and then try to get them to talk to the computer and they work, or if it would, or if they just really are dead and um they're good for when we go to the movie theater because I tell them I'm going to be having these on my ears. They don't record anything. Don't worry. You know, some people give me funny looks, and then other people are like, "Oh, okay, yeah." It's just to dampen the noise because it's so loud. I think I even had them when we were watching Casablanca. So I actually missed a couple of things, I think. But it was a pretty good movie. I still have not seen Gone with the Wind, by the way. I have not read Gone with the Wind. I have not seen Gone with the Wind. And, you know, I mean, I've seen that scene, that risque scene where he's saying, frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn. You know, I don't really see that as a bad word, you know? Obviously, I've said that in some of my videos, especially when I'm playing GTA. Um, you know, I'll be upset that one of the other cars crashed into me just because they could. I don't know why they put that feature in. That is just not a feature I think should be there. But yeah, um, I don't really see that as a bad word, but I guess at the time it was. Like you just didn't say that in movies or TV shows. But anyway, I've seen that scene like 600 times because, they have advertisements for um I don't know what the advertisement was for either. It was it wasn't Gone with the Wind. But it was an advertisement and um I'm kind of thinking that maybe it was like Clint Eastwood. Um, it's a movie, The Red Shoes or the Ballet Shoes or um, no, Ballet Shoes doesn't sound right. I think it's The Red Shoes. Um, or something like that. Anyway, it's on one of the DVDs that we have. It's an advertisement because he wants to go and restore all those super classic movies. Like maybe they don't even have talking because because maybe they're like Charlie Chaplin movies. There was no talking on those. um but you can still tell what's going on because it's such a wonderful story. Well, he wants to go and restore all of those, and I don't know if he's still alive now that I think about it. I hope he is. um but anyway, um he's got to be like in his 80s, 90s, maybe. Oh my goodness. I think Dick Van Dyke's almost 100 years old, if he's still with us. He was on The Masked Singer. I think he was a gnome. And I don't remember what he's saying either. I think he was a gnome. And I just thought that was so cool because he's 90 something and he's on the stage doing his thing like he was the age that he was when he was in Mary Poppins, you know? Or like when he was on the Dick Van Dyke Show, you know? I don't know how old he was in either movie, but I mean, I don't know how old he was in Mary Poppins, and I don't know how old he was when he was in the Dick Van Dyke Show, but um, but I just thought that was so cool because he's like almost 100 years old, and he's up there being a song and dance man. I think it's Richard Gere is also a song and dance man. Um, it's the one that's in Chicago, the movie Chicago. Nobody knew he was a song and dance man until Chicago. They remember him being in, if I remember correctly, they remember him being in Pretty Woman as Edward, the businessman. And the thing in that one is that he, I'm going to put this nicely as possible. He had a girlfriend and she broke up with him, and so he finds this girl, um he finds this girl walking on, or standing on the sidewalk, and he pays her to be his girlfriend for the week. There's more to it than that, but that's what we'll say on stream. So anyway, apparently that story was supposed to be a whole different story. She was supposed to be, like she fell in love, but he didn't, and so he just leaves her at the end of the movie. But I like what they came up with. Um, at the end of the movie, um, well, I kind of like what they came up with. Anyway, at the end of the movie, you get the sense that they're gonna keep dating, and I mean that they're gonna start dating, and live happily ever after. Get married one of these days, have some kids. You get that sense at the end of the movie, and um, and it still scares me that that is now a Disney, because Disney acquired
Touchstone who made that movie. And now they're putting, the name Disney or Buena Vista on there, and everybody thinks it's a Disney movie. Our kids are not going to understand that that is not an original Disney, and that there was actually a company that got gobbled up by Disney who made that movie. They're not going to understand that. Our kids, and specifically Squibs, Squibs understands that there was a time before Disney had them, but but Squibs pretty much thinks Star Wars was done by, is done by Disney. So, because it is now. But, what if there's a kid out there who doesn't know that, there was a man named George Lucas and this was his world, and Disney decided that it's a money making franchise and decided to take it over. I am still not sure that, Disney didn't hire those people to sue George Lucas for changing things to what they were supposed to be instead of what they had to be at the time. That that is part of the reason why I'm trying to be perfect with my books. The other reason is because there was typos in some of the Star Wars books that got through the editor process, and um, some of the books I've read, you had to read the sentence 2 or 3 times to understand what they were going for. Or you might have to go back to another page even to go and read that again and go, oh, okay, Georgia's saying this. I don't call her George, I call her Georgia. Georgia's saying this and Bess replied this. Okay. But that's one of those books that liberally uses the word said. I mean, a book series that uh, it uses the word said a lot. It'd be like, hey, what time is it? Nancy, hold on. Hey, what time is it? Nancy said. And it's like, no, Nancy asked, Nancy questioned, Nancy queried. Nancy wondered. If I could go and breathe new life into those books, I would, but I would go and change, uh, just change a few little things. Like, instead of them having to go and try to find a phone booth all the time or an open store with a phone, they never used that idea. There could have been an open store with a phone. Not not in the book that I'm thinking of though, because they were in a warehouse district, and one of the warehouses was open, and the bad guys were working in it and everything, and then they go back and nothing, everything's gone. you know so anyway, but like several times they're looking for a phone booth to call the police so they can get stuff done. Well, you can't have them actually have you can have them have a cell phone, but you can't actually have them call the police, because that would change the storyline too much. But if you go and have it to where um if you go and have it to where, like, Nancy's phone is dead and George's is home on the charger, and Bess just killed hers because she was talking to her boyfriend the whole time they were in the car, you know, it changes it just enough that it would be, it would just be maybe a few pages longer than it was, and still keep the gist of the storyline. Anyway, I would love to do that. If somebody, could, I mean, if I could figure out, how to get the rights to that storyline. Um, it was the Nancy Drew Files. That's my favorite. And my second favorite is the I call them the Nancy Drew Yellow Books, but I think they're actually called the Nancy Drew Mysteries. Anyway, this when I was reading them, they were yellow. Every single one of them. And oh well, okay, no, because they started out in hardback and then they went into paperback and they had, regular covers like a regular book. So they weren't all yellow. I think they should have stayed yellow though, because that would say, okay, we're part of this series here. But they didn't do that. Anyway, um, and I would just like to update it a little bit. Update it to nowadays, and like instead of having to go to the library, um, like instead of having to go to the library to use the computer and look stuff up, maybe they were just having internet issues. Because in one of the books, it's called Murder on Ice, there's a guy and he has lost his memory. He's a ski instructor. He has lost his memory. And I think his name was John. His original name is John. I can't think of what his other name is. We'll call him Derek. I don't know. But anyway, okay, so Georgia is falling in love with Derek, you know, and who ends up being John, because I can't pronounce his last name for nothing. It's not Berenstain or Bernstein or how Berenstain. I don't think it's Bernstein. Anyway, it's not that. It's like Bernston or I don't know, something weird, and I just can't pronounce it. But anyway, um, she knows him as Derek, but then she finds out that he's John. But then Nancy finds out that he's John and thinks that he's the person causing problems at the ski lodge that they're at, because they're at, I think, Webb Cove Lodge, and there's somebody causing problems. Nancy got hurt because um, the ski lift wasn't working, but there was a we'll call it tow rope. Yeah, it was a rope. It was not a chain. Anyway, tow rope was there, and the bad guy assumed that Derek John, we'll just call him John. Never mind. We'll just call him John. It was Jon, by the way. Anyway, the bad guy assumed that John would be the next person on there. Well, no, it was Nancy, and she takes one hand off the tow thing to wave at the person that she's seeing, but she uh, she realized that he's like panicking because there's a trap, and um or that the no, that might be the rope was severed. Anyway, at some point there was a rope across, between two trees and crashed into it. And I don't know if that was that part or if the tow rope was severed in half, something like that. Anyway, whatever happened. Um, and then another time there's and I don't know if it was an intentional avalanche. I think it was though. 'Cause like they set off a bomb, so then they're stuck in the lodge with the bad guy, but they still don't know who it is. Anyway, they finally figured it out, and everything works out fine. But um, that one, the reason why I was saying all that is that Nancy ends up cross country skiing to the library, and the lady wants to close it up because wants to close up the library, and the librarian wants to close up the library so she can go home because there's a big storm, and um and she finds out about John, and she's all worried about it, and uh she tries to tell her friend Georgia about it, but Georgia doesn't want to listen because you can't say anything bad about my boyfriend. Yeah. Anyway, I like that book. Um, I also like Howl's Moving Castle. Howl's Moving Castle was a book way before it was a was it Ghibli Studios movie? Um, if I said it wrong, I'm so sorry. Um, but yeah, okay. So it's a story about Sophie, and in their little world, if you're the oldest of three children, you're not going to amount to much. So, um, I think it's the third daughter, is going to make the most money, and then the second daughter is going to probably get married off to a wealthy, like a duke or a baron, something like that, and then the oldest, she's going to be poor like Molly Weasley. Um, that's just the thing. Sophie and her two sisters, Letty and Martha, they were going to school, but uh, their dad had them going to like the finest school in the area, and big tuition, and a lot of money to pay to go there. So they're it's Letty and Martha's mother. Um, Sophie's mom died before the story even started, and Sophie and Letty's um, I mean, and then her dad dies, like within the first chapter. So um, Letty and Martha's mother, Fanny, decides that she's got to get these girls out of school um, and into doing something so they can, make some kind of money and be able to support themselves. Well, she keeps Sophie on at the hat shop, And then she goes and sends Letty out to a bakery shop called Cesari's. They make breads and cakes, and they probably make eclairs, and I don't know. Anyway, I think they mostly make desserts though. Um, anyway, and then she goes and sends Martha out to Mrs. Fairfax, if I'm remembering her name right. I'm pretty sure that's it. Um, anyway, out to Mrs. Fairfax, because Mrs. Fairfax is a witch. She's a good witch. Um, but she's like mentioned, and basically she's mentioned in a couple of um 2 or 3 chapters, and then you don't really hear about her ever again. But anyway, well, Sophie, gets to where she's, like, um, like she's a demure little mouse of a person, and Fanny's even got everybody wearing gray. And so she starts talking to the hats, and she doesn't know it at the time, but she's putting a spell on the hats. Um, yeah, she doesn't know it at the time, but she's putting a spell on the hats. And so she tells the one hat that it's got mysterious allure. And she tells, this other hat that it's cute and perky, and so it's like, I think the mayor's wife saw somebody else buy it, and she bought one too, but it didn't look half as cute on her as it did the other lady. And anyway, eventually, the there's a witch of the waste, and Howl. Um, the witch of the waste does not like Howl because I think they used to date, but they never actually say that in the storyline. Um, it's just how it's worded. It kind of sounds like they used to date, and so he's a drama queen. Howl is a drama queen, but anyway, so the Witch of the Waste has a beef with, it's either Letty or Martha. Probably Letty, because when Sophie goes to visit Letty at the bakery shop, it's actually Martha in disguise. Because Letty wanted to go on learning, so that's why she got sent to the bakery shop. Well, Martha and Letty decided to go and trade places, and Letty goes to Mrs. Fairfax's, disguised like Martha, and Martha goes to Cesari's, looking like Letty. And there's a young man in the that works in the back of the shop that thinks Letty is beautiful. And Martha wants to have, 12 kids, 13 kids, something like that. So she said she's got to start quite early. She's like really too young to be having kids, but she was saying that she needed to, start soon if she wanted to have that many kids. Anyway, eventually the Witch of the Waste goes into the hat shop thinking that Sophie is either, I mean, yeah, thinking that Sophie is Letty, the real Letty. And she goes and, she says something, and then all of a sudden, Sophie is, looking in the mirror, and she sees this old lady, and, so Sophie assumed that she just had a spell put on her. But it turns out that Sophie put it on herself. But you don't find that out until the end of the book. Anyway, so she goes off to seek her fortune and ends up at Howell's house. And Howell's got, like I said, Howell's got a coal-colored castle. And it just kind of, goes from here to there and there to here. Okay, we got 12 minutes. And I'm going to try to stop at that time. At that actual time this time because, like I said, I'm trying to finish the book. I'm like 5 pages from the end of the chapter. And then I could do Dreamlight Valley if I wanted to, or more of this or something. Or I could do more story. But now that I have a game plan on, I could go and get the portable, external hard drive and plug it in. I think I misplaced that thing though. I don't know, but I think I did. But anyway, now that I've got the game plan of I could get that and then put the stories that that I don't listen to as much, put those on something else. I could put them on the external hard drive. Maybe I could do that. I don't even listen to the music on there anymore. I've got most of that. I think I've got most of the music that I actually listen to on my YouTube music, so that's not good though because then you have to have the internet to listen to it. And like if I'm in that zone of there's parts of our town that like have a very bad cell signal. If I'm in like one of those places, then I wouldn't be able to listen to my music. Like I cannot walk all the way to Walmart and have a solid signal. But I haven't tried to do that. I really haven't tried doing that in a long time. So, ooh, I have an idea. Okay, so I said I needed a fountain drink, and I could, have us go all the way over to, I don't need it until the day after tomorrow, but, I could go and have him take me to Costco and we get a, wait, day after tomorrow. Tomorrow is, yeah, okay. Tomorrow's the 30th, and day after that would be the 31st. Yeah, okay, we're fine. Anyway, I could have him take me to Costco, and we just, drink as much Coca-Cola as we can while we're there, and then I will stay up all night, and it'd be great. Or we could go over to, and that's only 79 cents. Or we could go to the Quick Stop, I think it's called. Um, it's one of those little convenience stores. It does not have gas anymore, I don't think. But it did have, I mean, it does have a car wash. But anyway, it's a little convenience store, um, and they've got bigger cups, but that's more expensive too. Um, at Costco, you can get a hot dog and a soda for two people, $3.23. But if you're paying any amount of cash, then you gotta um walk up to one of the registers and get your hot dogs that way. But still, yeah, it's a good way to go. Um, but like I said, we'd have to we'd have to have that Coca-Cola as close to um like sometime in the evening, like 8 o'clock. So then I literally stay up all night. Not all night, but at least until midnight. I want to be able to celebrate. And we usually, I don't know if we usually watch it on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. I think New Year's Eve. We usually watch Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. Because it has to do with New Year's. If I could find it, I would like the New Year's Eve Charlie Brown episode. Um, it kind of sucks actually because okay, so he went to the party. I mean, he's supposed to be reading War and Peace, but he went to the party, and so he's stuck outside, like on the porch swing or something like that, reading War and Peace, and he finally gets done with it, and then I think he finally went inside and or he finally went to go inside, and the big problem was the little red-haired girl had already been there and left. So yeah. Like the big reason why he wanted to go was the little red-haired girl. And she all of a sudden had a in It's Christmas Time Again, Charlie Brown, she all of a sudden had a name. Um uh Something Jean. I can't remember. Peggy Jean. That's what it was. Her name's Peggy Jean. And the for a large part of the episode, there's the thing of Charlie Brown wants to get her some gloves for Christmas so she can keep her hands warm. And the thing was that he didn't have the money, but then he sold his whole entire comic book collection and was able to get it. But then he sees her in the store, and she just bought a new pair of gloves. So, he met her over the summer and saw how pretty her hands are, and he wanted to keep them warm. And it's such a heartwarming story. I loved it. But they had to go and ruin it by, she just bought a pair of gloves. So why give her something that she's already got? Well, what if those, what if she's like out with her mom somewhere and she accidentally spills her hot chocolate on her gloves? Then her hands are going to be freezing because you didn't give her the other pair. You know? Just saying. Okay, so um I said this already, but I write books and they are Pirate's Daughter, Misfortune, Hard Times, Esperanza's Party, The Island, Adopted Coral, uh, and the newest one will be, as soon as it's published, Lessons in Love. And if you're watching me on Twitch, please follow and chat. And if you're watching me on YouTube, please like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell. And as soon as 11 o'clock hits, um, I'll see you in another stream or video. I mean, the next stream or video. Uh, yeah, anyway. I know, I talk about the weirdest stuff on my streams. um, okay, so for you who have not watched any of my videos ever, this is my story world. This is where they live when they're not on ship. And, so I'm going to be building the high school and the junior high and the preschool. And I don't know why I made it a preschool instead of like a head start, but I don't know that everybody has a head start, so I just use preschool as like a generic term. Um, anyway, um, so the high school, the junior high, the elementary school, the preschool, the college. I've never built that whole thing because I'm partially making it up as I go along, and I've just never built the whole thing. Um, I'm trying to come up with Lake Tahoe Community College. It's not called that anymore. I think it's just called Lake Tahoe College. But anyway, I'm trying to come up with Lake Tahoe Community College because that's where we went to college at, and that's the college I know the best. Only problem is that I'm building it from the sewing music wing because that's the only two things I knew were in that wing. Um, I'm building it from that to the left, and it's getting a little complicated. But it's got to be big enough that it's a regular college. You know, like Yale or Harvard or Princeton. Um, where you can get a degree. You can get all the way up to a master's degree. Um, because I don't want anybody to have to go to Dublin just to get their degree. So if that's, if you have to go to Dublin to get your degree, because as far as I know, that's um, I don't know if it's the biggest town, but it's the most famous town. Um, but, I would expect that the big college where you can get your degree would be there. I don't know. I haven't looked it up or anything, but yeah. Okay, so it's 11:01, and as soon as I'm done with this uh line right here, I will end the stream because I need to go upstairs. I need to eat. um, would like to do some more of the laundry. I don't want it. Well, actually, I don't want to do it. I kind of have to, because it's got towels, you know, towels and sweatshirts. Um, and I'm not talking, like normal sweatshirt. I'm talking nice, warm, bright orange and yellow green. Um, I mean green yellow. It's more yellow than green. Um, but it's like a greenish yellow. Uh, Sweatshirts, and they are nice and toasty. And then I really want to have. Oh, I need to wash um, my sleeping bag again. I try to wash it about once a week or so, because just because I want it to, I want it to be smelling good. Um, I don't know if that's gonna hurt my sleeping bag or not, but I've been using it as a blanket, so it probably gets um, it probably gets like sweaty, sweaty on it. Um, okay, so yeah, I will see you in the next stream or video. Well, nah, let me take out these trees. See, I always come up with something else. I need to get, okay, yeah, there we go. I need to get rid of these trees, and I need to get back down here. Right here. Okay, I will see you in the next stream or video.